Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that when we look back at the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series that launched back in May of this year on Disney+, a lot of Star Wars fans had a lot of criticism over the show because of valid reasons, not just because of how it focused away too much on Vader and Kenobi, but it also had a lot of opportunities that they missed in the actual series, a lot of editing choices that were in the wrong, and a lot of other critiques that were very valid among the fandom. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, it is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing that we do know about John and Dave is that they are all set and ready to make things right for the fans, to really make sure that the future of the Star Wars universe is going to thrive and survive, and really focus on not just Star Wars Legends, but also just doing things the right way with common sense moving forward, right? And a lot of that now has to do with the continuation of the Kenobi storyline, right? We talked about this already of how Disney and Lucasfilm are grouping together on creating a soft reboot of the Kenobi series that's going to feature actors Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen once again, as well as a handful of other actors and actresses joining the project. Now, there's a lot of things that are coming out of this because their overall game plan is essentially taking core elements from the canceled Kenobi trilogy that was canceled by Kathleen Kennedy, by the way, and throwing all of those ideas into the soft reboot of Obi-Wan Kenobi that's really going to fulfill the story and is really going to gain the momentum again for fans to actually enjoy a story about Kenobi, Vader, Order 66, and a whole lot more on the horizon. Now, with that being said, with Favreau and Filoni currently developing multiple Star Wars shows, Disney executives are getting ready to develop the second season of Obi-Wan Kenobi that will involve both John and Dave as well as original writer Stuart Beattie. Now, it's noted that creators John and Dave are actively pulling from many of the original storyboards from the cancelled Kenobi trilogy and are using many of those ideas for the upcoming reboot of the Kenobi series that will be treated as a soft reboot. Now, one storyboard in particular is set to redefine a big piece of Star Wars history. One of the storyboards being cherry-picked from the Kenobi trilogy that will be used in the series reboot is set to take place on a flashback during Order 66, where it is set to feature a new revelation between Anakin and Mace Windu, making Mace a survivor of course, in canon, is already in the works, and that this flashback is set to showcase that Mace gained the knowledge that Anakin Skywalker was responsible for many Jedi dying during Order 66. Further, the Kenobi reboot is set to make it canon that Mace Windu witnesses Anakin taking down Jedi from across a bridge near the Jedi Temple as Mace Windu is using a green lightsaber defending himself from clone troopers while trying to maintain his newly implanted bionic arm that he got from a medical droid just shortly after falling out the window from Palpatine. Now, let me just pause here quickly for a second. Now, what they are trying to establish here is that in canon, so far, right now, there's no confrontation between Mace Windu and Anakin Skywalker during the events of Order 66, simply because back then in 2005, it was well thought out that Mace Windu died by the hands of Palpatine, right? And Anakin Skywalker, technically speaking. Now what they're doing is that they are making a canon that he lived, and we talked about this for well over a year now. This has been in the works for a very long time. And not just that, but they also want to make a canon that both Anakin and Mace realize that their fates are pretty much exposed. Mace realizes that Anakin is now Darth Vader. Anakin also realizes that Mace Windu survived the fall after he attacked him and Palpatine attacked him as well. And they have a little miniature confrontation, if you will, during the events of Order 66 while he tries to defend himself. Now, what's really interesting about this is that this was a whole storyboard that was illustrated by Stuart Beattie. It was finalized to be used in the third and final movie of the Kenobi trilogy that was going to involve a flashback to the events of Order 66 that was going to showcase all of this. So all of these storyboards, by the way, are being picked up by Favreau and Filoni and Stuart Beattie, and are now being implanted into the Kenobi series soft reboot. That's going to have a brand new title. It's not going to really mention events that happened during Season 1 as much. It's going to basically be starting things from a new point of view, in a sense. Now, about this, too, a lot of fans may not like this idea of Anakin knowing about Mace, or Mace knowing about Anakin. Now, you can see that this was basically Stuart Beattie's version of Reva knowing about Anakin Skywalker's true identity. In this version, it's Mace Windu knowing about Anakin Skywalker's true identity, being Darth Vader as well. So, on top of this, alright, as Anakin exits his way after taking down the younglings is when Mace Windu witnesses Anakin from afar, and Anakin lays eyes on Mace Windu, realizing that his identity as Darth Vader is blown, and tries to chase down Mace Windu, only for other Jedi to defend Windu, telling him to retreat and board a ship to a nearby world under the radar. This was all an original idea by Stuart Beattie that now is getting revived. Now, what I really do like about this is that this basically is a remade version of Reva finding out who Anakin really is. And it's done in a far superior way. Because let's face it, Mace Windu is somebody that was very close to Anakin. It makes a lot more sense. It makes it all the more dramatic and meaningful. And not just that, it also kind of creates this drive for both characters to hunt down each other. Mace knows about Anakin being Vader. Anakin knows about Mace Windu surviving. And I like that. I like that overall, that whole struggle between these two characters that Stuart Beattie wanted to do, by the way. He really had all these great ideas that were storyboarded, that never really made it at all, for the most part, into the actual series by Joby Harold. So here we have it, the soft reboot of the Kenobi series, one of the latest storyboards getting revived by Favreau, Filoni, and Stuart Beattie. They plan on reviving the Kenobi series into something completely likable and new and just refreshing to the franchise that I believe is really going to steer things in the right path. Now, Ewan McGregor and Hayden have already been involved in these conversations, and they already signed a multi-show contract deal to return as both Kenobi and Anakin in several projects, including this one. So that just kind of gives you a little bit of a perspective on things, about how busy they too are going to be. Now, what do I think about Mace Windu surviving? I think it's perfect. I think it's fine. I know some fans are not going to like this because, too many characters are surviving these days, right? Darth Maul, Palpatine, Boba Fett, all of which survived either a fall or falling into a pit or a deep chasm, right? So anyways, on top of this, guys, I think it is a very interesting development to have both Mace and Anakin gaining secret knowledge about each other's fates, and I like that. It's a very poetic thing. So let me know what you guys have to say about all this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night